Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to discuss today a very little known fact of state contracts as it pertains to government contracts. And unfortunately, not a lot is known about this until you do some deep research, which I did over the last couple of days. And for the record, my name is Michael Price. I'll be your presenter, host, and resident comic for the day. I believe in trying to have some humor when we're discussing technology and sometimes boring subjects. So bear with me because I tend to stray a little bit once in a while. State contracts. I didn't realize that there were quite a few options and possibilities, which we're going to go over today. But let me get a disclaimer out of the way first. On your control panel on the right side of your screen, you should see a tab with a triangle that says handouts. Please take a moment during the brief webinar today, and I've shortened all of them from an hour to 30 minutes. Sometimes we're done quickly, sometimes we run over. Last week's on what we call CALC, contract awarded labor categories, for those of you who provide services to the government, or at least try to. We were scheduled for 30 minutes. We ended up going almost 42 minutes. You can watch that video on our website, which you'll see at the second to last slide with the question slide. At any time, please feel free to raise your hand, ask a question, whatever comes to mind. I don't mind being interrupted. As a matter of fact, I encourage it because I'm here to help you understand how to generate more revenue in the government. So let's get started. I've already killed most of the glamour on who I am. I am a service-disabled Vietnam vet, and I was actually in the Pentagon in 1972 when they blew up the second floor men's room. Didn't get much publicity and press because we didn't have the internet yet. And those of you that watch time travel movies can understand, how did we ever live without the internet before 1995? Very tough. I am the oldest GSA consultant alive. I've worked on the beta team, and everybody says, you preach experience matters. Why? Well, in 1986, August 12th to be exact, so we just celebrated our 32nd anniversary, I made a phone call out of a magazine, which was then a tabloid called PC Week. Now it's a standard magazine, and obviously it's all gone electronic. And I called this guy over in Austin, Texas, and that started my career. And as you can see on our website, you'll see our references. We are available for numerous areas of consultation and services provisions. But most importantly, experience matters. I've been doing it a long time. I started out doing everything. Regular, huge bids to the government. I worked in that arena long before 1986, so I've got the experience. If you have a question, please feel free to throw it up, or at the end you'll see the contact information. You're always welcome to send an email to us. We're going to learn about state contracts. Now, we've only got 11 slides, and we're on slide 3. So I want to make this as interactive as possible. Don't be shy. I only use first names when I respond to your question. What are they? How do I get one? Believe it or not, you may already have one and just haven't executed it yet or exercised it yet. How does it work? Obviously, because GSA, who was founded in 1949 in the products and building area, building maintenance and all, years ago, probably late 90s, early 2000, they authorized state, local, municipal, universities, colleges to be able to utilize those of you that are fortunate enough to have a GSA contract. Right now, only 2 contracts, IT and law enforcement, which covers law enforcement, fire, and all the other good stuff, to be able to order directly from your contract. If you are part of a government contract right now, I'm going to show you, and of course the handouts will also give you some very, very valuable information on exactly who your state procurement authority is, and that's where you start your trek to state contracts. There are multiple programs, and I must admit, I didn't realize this. I just figured if you have a GSA contract, you got a state contract, you're done. Well, part of GSA is cooperative purchasing, which is part of what we're talking about, and disaster recovery, and a few other areas, even an 1122 program, which I had no idea what it was, and I'm supposed to be smart. So that goes to show you, you can teach an old dog new tricks. Cooperative purchasing, Group 70 and Group 84, which is IT and law enforcement, security, things like that. That's the cooperative purchasing part. So if you have a GSA contract, do not shy away from somebody in the state asking you if they can use your GSA, which they should know they can. If they don't, let them know they can order directly through your GSA contract. I have a client in the Northeast, because I'm in the Southeast, who had a college that wanted to spend a lot of money with them. And by the time we finally got their GSA contract, they placed the order. So they really hit a home run. It was close to a $500,000 order, only because they wanted to take advantage of one of our upcoming webinars of Trade Agreements Act or Buy America Act. If it's on GSA, if the government has approved it and gone through all the vetting process, then they knew that they were safe in ordering that product without any fear of violating trade agreements and Buy America Act. Disaster purchasing. All types of products and services to aid the recovery from major disasters. Well, I live in Florida, so I have 3 or 4 major disasters a year. Those of you in California, you know where I'm going with that one. I was in San Francisco a few years ago, and a guy said to me, "Oh, you live in Florida, you have hurricanes." And I said, "Yeah, we usually get 2-week notice." And as we're standing outside the W in downtown San Francisco, I looked at him. It was tough to keep a straight face, but I did. I said, "Well, how much notice do you get for an earthquake?" He promptly looked down between his feet and said, "None." So those are your 2 major disasters. Let's go with the third one. Some girl named Dorothy and some guy with some lion or something, whatever, with the tornado thing. So you know where I'm going with that. Any questions so far? Please feel free. Fire them up. Public health emergencies. I didn't even know about this one. Anybody here have a federal grant? Let me know. Health and Human Services declares a public health emergency. What happens? Anybody who has a schedule, you're right up front to get business. The 1122 program, even though I kind of worked in this area when I was outside the service, working for a major defense contractor. And of course, Homeland Security wasn't invented yet. we did a tremendous amount of business. Now, you will notice when you download your slides, this particular one is highlighted in orange. It's called Auto Choice. Well, I knew what it was, but I forgot what it was. And I said, let me check this and see what, am I making an automatic choice or automatic decision? It's for vehicles. Of course, I hadn't read the full paragraph before I did it, but that will take you into the auto choice under group 48. And I mention these groups because every type of product or service has a Federal Supply Classification, FSC code. The government is moving away from the basic codes, the NAICS codes, which you all have in SAM, to what they call product service codes, which again doesn't make sense because not all of you provide products. Some of you are service providers, professional IT services, engineering services, building services, all types of services. So from that aspect, I don't know why they call it product service code. Let's change the name. It's called Procurement Service Code. I just made that up. Probably not, but that's probably what it was, and I was wrong all along. That's the 1122 program. Now we're in what's called the money round. The National Association of State Procurement Officials. Didn't know they existed. Now the slide that you have in the handout, there actually is a handout for this, and it really doesn't do it justice, and I probably shouldn't have even put it up there. Use this link on your slide. You'll get a map, enter your state. It'll give you everything you want to know about your state procurement official. It'll give you the director. Good place to start. I'm sure that they're subclassified. I didn't spend a lot of time. I hit Florida and it was like multiple pages of information. So this is where we need to concentrate. But how do you get a state contract? Well, number one, if you have a GSA contract, you're all but guaranteed. Not guaranteed, all but guaranteed. 1987, taking you back. Michael Dell has his first contract, April of 1987. Within 3 months, he had the Texas state contract for IT. It's automatic. The best known one is what's called CMAS, California Multiple Award Schedule. That's pretty much automatic. They just staple their award sheet right on top of your contract and you're off and running. Virginia followed suit. Florida followed suit. I'm sure there are others. I just haven't dug deep enough to find out how easy it is for you to be part of the state contract program. Are there any questions so far? We got one here. Let me decipher it really quick. Why would I need a government contract if I can get a state contract? Short answer, you don't. Let's flip it around. If you have a government contract, if you're part of a GWAC, government-wide acquisition, if you're part of a GWAC, you're probably not going to go through a lot of the vetting that you're going to need to get a state contract. If you have a GSA contract, like I said, it's all but guaranteed. And if you happen to be fortunate enough to be in the Group 70 or Group 84, for right now, on regular cooperative purchasing, it's a no-brainer. So, good follow-up question. If the states can buy from my IT contract, why do I need to get a state contract? You don't, but it sure looks good on your capability statement, which we're going to do a upcoming webinar on capability statements. And anytime you can add anything to your arsenal, which your arsenal is your capability statement. If you don't have one, or you don't like yours, or you want to find out if it's worthwhile looking at and why is nobody paying attention to it, contact me. I'll be more than happy to have it reviewed professionally and let you know what you really need to do to kind of jump out at people. And I will tell you one thing that is absolutely taboo. When you contact any procurement official, state, local, federal, whatever, you never send an attachment on the first email. If you're discussing your capabilities with anybody, either at the state level or federal level, you always ask permission on the next email to be able to attach your capability statement for their files. And the good news is they don't use them for coffee holders anymore because very seldom do they ever see paper. But I'm spending a lot of time on the National Association of State Procurement Officials because it's the most important part of this particular webinar. Next question, please. How hard is it to get a GSA contract? Short answer, if we're doing it, not hard at all. If you're doing it, if you look at our video section, you will see that we actually do a couple webinars that have slides in there on statistics taken directly from GSA. Those of you who attempt to do it yourself, and you can do it yourself, not a problem at all if you have the time. Just like doing your own taxes. After I got audited 3 years in a row, I decided I was not a good tax accountant. It was time to have a professional do it. I've never been audited since. 89% of those of you who submit your own GSA application will get denied. Of the 89% of you that get denied, 95% will get an award. But what about the other 5%, you ask? 9 times out of 10 or higher, because 3 reasons why you will not get a contract. Number 1, failure to respond to GSA in a timely fashion. If they give you 10 days to get your response in, don't wait till day number 10 to do it. Do it on day 1, day 2. Get it done. Once you've got that contract, it opens your door for your state contract. Item number 2, you have really, really lousy financials, but don't despair. There's a back door to be able to get back in. It's called a certificate of competency. In 32 years and doing thousands of schedule applications, I've only had one person, one company that I prepared for certificate of competency at the SBA. And in the 11th hour, the contracting officer said, I have an idea. And we never had to submit the COC. He actually gave us an award, but we had to lower our forecast. Number 3, second most important, failure to negotiate with the government in good faith. When I first started this company in '86, GSA was based on best value. The only way I can describe that is to think Amazon. Free shipping, free returns, no taxes. You might pay a couple dollars more, but when you finally do the end result, you don't have to drive, you don't have to stand in line at Best Buy, you know the whole routine. Now it's gotten to the point where it's highly price competitive. That's the bad news. The good news is you're not competing with anybody on pricing like you would on a regular request for proposal shootout. It's not going to happen. It's based on what you do commercially to try to move you into the competitive range. Now, those of you who are small business, woman-owned business, service disabled, hub zone, 8A, all these terms you hear thrown around, the government has goaling credits, and so does the state, has goaling credits where a certain percentage of their budget must go to those categories I just mentioned. So if you are a service-disabled, veteran-owned business, certify yourself. If you're a woman-owned business, certify yourself. 8A is a process. Had a gentleman last week said, I just want to get an 8A contract and not worry about all this. SBA does very, very few contracts anymore. They pushed it over under GSA and all of the other GWACs that are out there. And the agencies get their credit by flagging you, whatever you happen to be, HubZone or woman-owned or whatever, by flagging you so that they get their credit. Now, the difference is in the small business arena, which covers every category I just mentioned, you have got basically a 5 to 10% differential and still be considered in the competitive range. Do I need to repeat that? As a small business, I answered my own question. As a small business, you have a 5 to 10% leeway because a big business, obviously, with their buying power and loss leaders and the ability to make up their profit somewhere else, you can't do that because you don't have the resources. I don't care how big you are as a small business. We don't have the resources to compete with the big boys. So they give us a 5 to 10% leeway and still be considered in the competitive range. Good question. Thank you very much. Any other questions, please? Let's move on. Here's some questions. How do you know if you qualify for a GSA contract? Click that link and find out. Go through the quick survey. Do you need help getting it done? Click the link. Contact us. We'll give you a free consultation. Why does experience matter? Let me rephrase that. Why does experience matter? I think the About Us page will tell you. And those of you who are interested in spending a half hour with us every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, our webinar schedule. If there is something that you want us to talk about for a half hour on a Tuesday, let us know. I've still got about 6 or 7 more that I've got to set up. They'll all become videos on our website under the video section. And we're here to make sure you understand. Now, just let me throw you a statistic. I like statistics, even though I was lousy in math when I was in school. Of all of the folks that are registered in SAM, which is over 650,000 right now, how many do you believe, what percentage do you believe do not accept credit cards? Anybody? Is it 5%? 100%? 50%? Let me look at my answers here. Very close. Almost 75% of the companies registered in SAM to do business with the government do not accept credit cards. Why? It's a requirement. Just like your SAM record, those of you that survived the SAM debacle a few months ago know exactly what I'm talking about. Without a SAM, you can't do business with the government. Without credit cards, you can't get paid. It's not optional anymore. It is mandatory. Here's another quick question for you. Of all of you, over 650,000, how many do not have a website? You're not going to believe the number. almost 90%, do not have a website. How can you do business in the internet age, or sometimes called the Internet of Things? Your refrigerator has an internet connection, your dishwasher, your thermostat. My front door lock has an internet connection. How can you not have a website? If you're thinking about it, which I like asking the question, well, Billy Bob, do you have a website? Oh, we're working on it. How long have you been working on it? Well, the programmer's been working on it for about 3 months. Really? What if I told you, and I'm not a programmer, I'm not a designer, I'm an idea guy. What if I told you I could put a website up for you in 5 minutes? Functional, and all you have to do is add the content. Would that interest you? 5 minutes. It takes longer for us to discuss it than it would to have it operational. It's amazing. I look at these numbers and I run the statistics, and it just absolutely gives me a headache. That's our last slide, slide 11 of 11. Wait a minute, got a question came in. Can't go anywhere yet. How do we qualify for a VA contract? We are home care, that's one, they're a home care provider. James, excellent question, and I think I'm going to have to do a webinar on VA contracts. It's interesting because every time I have my yearly dermatology appointment yesterday, and the doctor says to me, she says, well, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I negotiate GSA and VA contracts. She says, what do you mean? I said, well, you're typing on a Dell computer. She says, yeah. I said, you're welcome. I said, do you have a Bluetooth headset for your cell phone? She says, yes. I said, thank you very much. I said, do you ever fly? She says, all the time. And I said, if it's on Airbus, you're welcome. And I just went on and on and on. You had a new roof put on your office building? Yeah. That's one of my clients. So I've been around a while. VA contract is not that hard to get. Now, they are very antiquated in their application process. I'm going to tell you that right up front. I did one 2 years ago for a company that has a absolutely revolutionary product. Now, James, I don't know if you're a disabled vet or not, but what I'm going to tell you is probably going to bring tears to your eyes. There was a guy that, and I'm counting the knuckles from your fingertips. The first knuckle's 1, and then 2, that's the big one, and then on your wrist, that's the third one. Between the first and second knuckle, all 4 of those fingers got cut off. In 6 weeks, he had his fingers back without sewing them on. It's a special product that is patented that actually regrows a limb using stem cell research, and a special blanket that they use and all this other. I saw it and I didn't believe it. There was another guy that came back from overseas. You can figure out which war I'm talking about. And half of his calf was missing. In 8 weeks, he had his calf back. Well, that's the good news. Bad news is he didn't have to shave that part of his leg anymore. Unfortunately, I don't think the hair grew back. So the way you qualify for a VA contract is the same as GSA. You must be in business for 2 years, have a pretty stable business. VA doesn't ask for the past performance evaluation report like GSA does, but we always provide one, which just shows credibility. Now, if you want, and this is the ludicrous part of government procurement. If you want to do business with the VA, you have to go in and get verified. I'm sorry, I'm a veteran, so why do I have to get verified as a veteran to do business with the Veteran Administration? Now, I will tell you, It is a wonderful arena to be in. Why, you ask? Thank you. There are 1,300 VA hospitals. There are 550 VA clinics. Now, that's not counting, those are called outpatient clinics. We have one right here down the street from me, or I can go to Miami, or I can go to West Palm Beach. Those are the two hospitals. But there's 3 or 4 outpatient clinics which handle everything except invasive or MRIs, the heavy duty stuff. Then I have to go to Miami. But the difference is, then there is psychiatric offices, which is one right up the street. I actually visited it one day, and when I didn't know any better, and they said, no, we can't provide that service, but while you're here, ... So you know where that was going. So you're probably looking at close to 2,000 VA facilities just in the United States. Going to va.gov, and there's a place in there called CVE for getting certified and vetted with the VA to be able to do business with the VA. Hopefully that answers your question. Anybody else? Let me see if we got something else here. All right, if there are no further questions, I will bid all of you an adieu. I appreciate you showing up. Hopefully you learned something about an additional revenue stream for your business. And please, I'll wait a couple seconds, let you download the handouts. Please make sure you get the slides. And most importantly, if you want to come back anytime, the last link right there will give you our webinar schedule, which will update. And as a matter of fact, probably within 20 minutes after we're finished here, you'll see today's webinar disappear from that list, obviously. It'll also disappear off our front page. And we really and truly appreciate you spending time with us today. There's our contact information at any time. And we definitely look forward to seeing you again. I bid you all a good day and look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. Thank you.